Quiet on the set. No lights. No cameras. Just action. Hi, this is Tony Woodall, Goal Getting Podcast, and we're here to talk about action today. Action is important, and today in episode 7, no lights, no camera, just action, we're going to talk about that, how to set an action plan, what to do to get the goals you set. So stay tuned and let's go with the show. Hello, welcome to Goal Getting Podcast. This is Tony Woodall, your host, and I want to welcome you. I'm broadcasting live today from Atlanta, Georgia, my hometown, and here visiting family and friends, getting ready for my daughter's wedding in a month, and she's having a shower, so we came to visit for that. I want to talk today about action. The title of our podcast today is No Lights, No Camera, Just Action. And that's what we want to talk about today is action. Stephen Covey has a famous quote where he says, "Stop setting goals. Goals are pure fantasy unless you have a specific plan to achieve them." And that is exactly true. I like to say a goal without action is just a wish, because that's really all it is. Unless you put action to it, you're not going to achieve anything. I don't think Stephen Covey is saying you shouldn't set goals or you should stop setting goals. What I think and believe he's trying to say, and what I believe, is that if you don't bother to do something to achieve those goals, if there are no actions associated with that, then odds are you're not going to achieve that goal, because it's just, the things that are coming to you aren't going to happen. And that brings us to, I have some folks that I've spoken with that are big fans of the law of attraction, which I am too. I firmly believe that what you believe you can achieve, and what you do will also help you. So, the law of attraction is very good, and a lot of people say, well, I don't want to worry about the how, because I believe that, what I think will come to me, and it will do that. And I believe in the law of attraction. You have to have, that thought of getting and achieving what you want, and asking life for it and demanding it from life, as I've spoken about in one of the other episodes. The ability to, have that belief in that law of attraction is critical to achieving your goals. But you still, once you've started on that road to that goal, you have to start doing some sort of action. Just sitting on the couch and, saying, well, I believe that I'm going to achieve this goal, and not moving from that couch and watching General Hospital or some other soap opera the whole time, odds are that's not going to happen. And that's not what the infinite intelligence or God or, it's not what the law of attraction is about. It's not just saying that, what I think I'm going to achieve, it will automatically appear in my mail or something along that line. I just don't believe that's the case. I think that, and I believe that, you have these ideas and you think and you believe that you're going to achieve these goals. You write them down. You start, determining what the what is and what the why is for your goals. And you start projecting that energy into the atmosphere and praying about it. And, and then the way to get it will come. But once you understand what the way to get it is, there's still steps more than likely that you're going to have to do to achieve that. It's not just going to drop, a check for $12 million in your bank account, for you. That's just not the way it works, and, I think to have that particular feeling that, just because I think and believe that I'm going to achieve this and believe that it's going to happen, if you don't do anything to start working for it, then it's not going to happen. I think that, again, that you're just not going to get a check in your mailbox in most cases, unless somebody or something that you do will do. That's kind of like believing you're going to win the lottery, but if you don't go out and buy a ticket, you're not going to win the lottery. I don't care how hard you believe and think about it, it's not going to happen. And don't use the lottery as one of your goals, but that's the logic. You can't honestly believe you're going to win the lottery and expect it to show up with the magic numbers in your mailbox, because it's just typically not going to happen. And I say typically, it just realistically, it's not going to happen. So, you want to believe firmly, like Napoleon Hill said, what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. And you've got to have that belief. The law of attraction, you have to put it out there. You have to demand from life that you get it, but it's not going to, like I said, just materialize overnight, on your doorstep without some sort of action. You have to do something to achieve that. One of the things that I've heard people in the past say is, if it's God's will, He will provide it. And as long as I pray, I'll get it. It's the same sort of thing. A lot of people use that as the law of attraction or the, God's will. If it's God's will, it will show up and He'll provide it to me. But I think God, put us on this earth with brains and with the ability to reason and opposable thumbs and the ability to do things so that we can go out there and do for ourselves and make those things, that we want appear and work for us. And certainly, if I just sat in my living room watching soap operas or cartoons on TV, odds are, God's just not going to drop that on my doorstep. And it kind of reminds me of a story one time, with people who have this, that, they're waiting on God or they're waiting on this law of attraction and the way to just materialize for them. Reminds me of a story back, it was popular during Hurricane Katrina, but I've heard it even long before that. But, there's an old story that, this guy living near the river, the Mississippi, had, saw on the news that a hurricane was coming and that they needed to vacate the premises. And he goes, oh my goodness, God's going to provide a way for us and He'll save us and we'll be okay. So we don't need to worry. So he was there and the neighbors came by. As the water got up, the neighbors came by and said, John, you need to leave. And John goes, no, God's going to provide for me. Well, He'll take care of me and I'll be fine. The water started rising. They got up to his doorstep and, all of a sudden this boat comes by with the National Guard and they go, sir, you need to come with us. It's getting dangerous. The hurricane's coming in. The floodwaters are rising. You need to get out of the house and come with us and, abandon your house right now. And says, oh, John said, no, God's going to provide for me. I know, I believe that God will provide and He'll save me and, I'll be okay. So they reluctantly leave. John's up there and the water continues to rise. The water's up to the second floor and it's starting to get over his head. So he climbs up onto the roof of the house and all of a sudden this helicopter comes by and the helicopter guy yells, sir, please grab the rope and we'll pull you to safety and we get you out of here. You need to come with us now. The flood is continuing to get higher. You need to come now. And John goes, oh, no, that's okay. God said, He's going to save me. I firmly believe God is going to protect me and save me. And John stayed there and soon John unfortunately drowned. John goes to the Pearly Gates and God's there and He goes, John, how are you? And he says, well, it's fine, God, but I thought you said you would save me. I knew you would provide for me, and I don't understand why I drowned and why I'm here. He said, John, I told you it was going to come and get flooded. I sent neighbors to tell you. I sent folks in a boat to tell you. I sent a helicopter for you. You didn't take any of the things that I offered you. You didn't do anything that I sent you to give you ideas of what to do. You just ignored it. So I'm sorry, I did provide opportunities for you. You didn't do anything with them. So that just goes to show, in my opinion, that that story that God sends us a lot of things, and the law of attraction. You get the ideas of what you need, but if you don't act on those ideas, you're going to end up like John did at the Pearly Gates, and wondering why nothing worked for you because you didn't do anything. So we're going to be talking about action and action steps. And action steps are critical to a goal-setting success. And that's what we're here at Goal Getting Podcast, is to help you get the goals that you set. And we're going to talk about that. So how do I set action steps? What exactly are action steps? So let's break it down just a little bit. If you really want to talk about steps, let's talk about weight loss. Weight loss is one of the number one goal-setting tasks that people set. It's the number one New Year's resolution, and it is out there for everybody to be able to do what they want to do, but they have to set, certain action steps to be able to achieve the goal that they want to do, and that's typically to lose weight. And there are typically two basic steps to weight loss, to be honest with you. One is you have to eat less and exercise more. And I call this the L&M diet, E-L and E-M, eat less and exercise more, just passionately referred to as the L&M diet, is what I try to follow, which basically you have to burn more calories than you take in. It's a very simple concept. But how do you go about that? What do you do? The best thing to do is first set up an action plan. When I talk to personal trainers about weight loss and getting in better shape, they always tell me that weight loss is 80% what you eat and 20% exercise. So we really want to focus on exercise after we focus on what we're eating, not so much diet, but the things that we're eating, the calories that we're importing or intaking within our body. There's a lot that goes into a weight loss program, and I definitely want to recommend that before you undertake any type of fitness or weight loss program, especially weight loss, that you check with your physician before starting one. After you've done that, then we can start setting up an action plan. But it's very important to talk with your doctor so that they can provide some ideas and recommendations based on the reasons that you need to lose weight. For example, if you're a diabetic, you may need to eat certain types of foods or a certain way, or make it a task to monitor your blood sugar to keep your blood sugar level throughout the process of, the fitness program that you're on, and before and after workouts, for example, so that you can check and make sure you need to do what you need to do, check with your doctor, and get the program, from them. Action plan for eating less is very simple. What is recommended calorie intake from your doctor? What does your doctor say? I participated in a Biggest Loser challenge at work a couple years ago. I had lost a bunch of weight and had put on a little bit after starting a new job. I got to eat a lot more now that I was making some money, and I actually ate a little more than I probably should have, and put on a little bit of weight, kind of like the freshman 15 when you go to college or something, new job, new money. I ate a little better than I probably should have. Probably not a little better, air quotes, but I ate more definitely than I had in the past when I lost another big weight loss that I had before, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But so one of the things that you want to know is find out what your calorie intake should be. When I spoke with my doctor before this Biggest Loser challenge that I participated in, I was recommended by my doctor to have a 1,200 calorie per day maximum that I wanted to try to attain, and not go over that. So calorie counting is very important, because really that's the key. You can try all the fad diets you want, because they're really all about limiting the calories, cutting calories, burning them faster or something like that. But if you don't cut the calories, by either eating less, and eating healthier foods, not so much less, but because you can eat a lot of high or low calorie foods and still, do well as long as the calorie count for those foods are fairly low. I mean, you could eat a ton of salad, and do very well. It is a very low calorie product, also high in fiber. So it could do very well. You can eat as much salad pretty much as you want. My doctor said don't even worry about counting the lettuce calories and things like that in your calorie counting because they're fairly minimal, and they're complex carbohydrates, and you're going to burn them a lot easier. So I didn't count a lot of the lettuce and some of the vegetables like that I ate. It was the ones that were high in calorie, high in fat, and things like that I might have tracked. So you want to count your calories and set up a plan to do that. And one of the tools that I recommend for calorie counting and making sure that you have the ability to track and monitor the amount of calories that you eat and take in every day is a product called MyFitnessPal. It is an application or an app on iTunes or on the iPhone or other applications. Android, I think they have it as well. It's a great application. But it provides the ability to calculate and to track the calories for a lot of foods. It has a barcode scanner and a database of most of the foods that are out there. So if you have packaged foods, for example, that you I used some low calorie, 300 calorie, frozen dinners that I use, lean cuisine and those sort of things. And I use the barcode scanner to check that in and keep track of that when I use that. So that particular app, the MyFitnessPal, is good. You have goal setting within the app for the amount of calories that you're trying to keep track of, and you use that to do that. The application is very simple to use, so I highly recommend using the MyFitnessPal. But there are other ones out there that you can use that will get you, the same sort of calorie tracking that's out there. Again, I just like the MyFitnessPal and use that successfully for quite a bit of time. It tracks calories, it tracks total fat, carbohydrates, the different things for the different types of foods that you eat. And, again, the database that's out there, you can manually input the number of calories and the items that you have, your favorite foods, but it has pretty much all of the fast food type of items out there. It has, it's a database of most of the store-bought items that you get that have barcodes on them. Not all of it, but a good portion of them that I found. So you want to be sure and use some sort of application to be able to track and monitor your calories. It's very important, folks, to be able to do the tracking of that while you're out there eating those calories. So I want to recommend that. And what we want to do is set a fitness goal or calorie intake goal. And my recommendation for me was that I do a 1,200 calorie, and that meant, according to my doctor, that I wanted to do 300 calories for breakfast, 400 calories for lunch, 300 calories for dinner, 200 calories of snacks during the day, either lunchtime snack or before bed or something like that. It sounds like a very limited amount of calories, and it is. And again, your doctor may not recommend 1,200, so you really do need to check with your doctor on that. It depends on you, your activity levels, and things like that. But my goal at that time was 1,200 calories per day, and it's my current goal, calorie intake as well now. It's probably the lowest that you should do if you do it, because it can get fairly unhealthy if you don't eat enough calories in a day. The important thing is to limit your fats and your carbs as much as possible and go about that. So the eat less is very important because you want to limit the amount of calories that you intake. The next thing that you want to do as part of your action plan is set up a way to burn calories. So it's important that you walk or do something. If you get you a product that will help you. I used the Nike Fuel Band for a couple of years, and during that time I was using the Nike Fuel Band. It worked very well until the battery died and it went dead. So I need to get something new. But there are several products out there, the Fitbit, the Fuel Band. Apple has a new Apple Watch out that you can try that, but you want to keep track of your steps, and you want to do about 10,000 steps a day minimum to be healthy. 10,000 steps is approximately 5 miles of walking, and it's very simple to do. You don't have to walk fast. You just have to do 10,000 steps. And I was doing anywhere from 10 to 15,000 steps a day at times last few years. And during that particular goal setting or that particular fitness plan that I was on, trying to lose that weight for that Biggest Loser competition that we had at work, which by the way, I did win second place. I did not win first place, but I was ahead a good portion of the time. Somebody went ahead of me at the end. They took a little bit more of a radical approach to eating less and didn't do a 1,200 calorie. They went down to like a 400 or 500 calorie for that last week, and it just pushed them over the finish line, but it wasn't a healthy pattern, I don't believe. So I would not recommend doing that in the future for folks, but that is out there. The other thing that, again, exercise more, find walking very fulfilling, but if you can go to the gym, and that, a lot of the folks that I've talked with, it's harder for them to modify or change their going to the gym. It's a little harder, so sometimes it's easier to control the calorie intake, but you really need to concentrate on both of them. When I was doing the program that I'm referring to, the Biggest Loser contest, I spent 2 hours a day at the gym after work working on the elliptical. So I would burn, and I did it pretty fast after a while. Built up to it. I didn't do it right off, at the super speeds and the high levels. But I eventually worked into a level 10 and did that for like 2 hours in a day, burning about 1,500 calories just in that 2 hour period. So between that and the regular walking that I did, which was about 5,000 to 8,000 steps that I took, and that was approximately, between those 2 hours, I did 5 to 10 miles sometimes on the elliptical, depending on how fast and hard I was running on the elliptical. But that built up there, and I eventually burned more calories than I took in. So I was taking in 1,200 calories per day, and I was burning 17 to 2,000 calories a day in there, and I was having, almost like 1,000 calorie deficit in a lot of those days where I was doing probably over 2,200 total calories per day, and that I was burning and only taking in 1,200 calories. And, it takes, that kind of deficit to be able to meet your goals, depending on what your goals are. And that's the key, is you want to set your fitness goals. If you're trying to lose weight, you have to determine, how much weight you want to lose and what kind of time frame that you have. I was trying to do it in a, I think we had an 8-week period that we were working on. And I'm sorry, no, it was a 12-week period. I take that back. 16-week period, apologize, that we were working on for that, and I had to do that within that period of time and try to lose the most percentage of body weight. So I did a lot of workout, but again, you don't have to do that kind of an intense program in most cases. If you've got to stretch it out over a year, you can figure out, how many calories you need to burn on an average day to be able to meet that goal. And you want to set up that action plan. And what I've done is I've provided, if you want, a goal setting worksheet that I use with the Goal Getting Don't Just Set 'em program. And I put that together, at goalgettingpodcast.com/action, ACTION. If you go to goalgettingpodcast.com/action, you'll be able to sign up and download a copy of the goal setting worksheet. And on the goal setting worksheet, what I have put on there is the 3 essences of, or the 3 concepts of a good and efficient goal setting program. And that is the what. What do I want to achieve? For example, I put in, I will wake up on Wednesday, July 31st, 2015, and step on the scale and see that I weigh 185 pounds. And I will do this by achieving a short-term goal of losing 2 pounds per week. So that's something that you can do as your what. You want to be, if you remember, we talk about setting goals. Your what has to be clearly defined, written goals. So you want to write down what you want specifically, and that is that. The other thing you have to do is define your motivation. What is your why? Why do you want to lose weight? If your goal to lose weight is to be healthy, which mine is, I put, for example, my why is I will be in better health and it will help me live a longer life. This will allow me to be in shape and have the ability to do more things as I get older. When I have grandchildren in a few years, I will be able to play with them longer. So that's the why of why I want to get in shape. So And that's something you have to think about. Why do you want to lose the weight? Why do you want to get in better health? What is your reason for your goal? And then once you've defined what you're trying to do, you then define your action plan. And on the goal setting worksheet, we have not only the what, the why, but also the how. And this is the action plan, not how am I going to achieve this, not that you would think about with the law of attraction, not necessarily what am I going to do to achieve my goal, but what are the action steps once I've figured out what the how is, or how am I going to go about that and get those particular steps that I want to get, and those goals that I want to get. What am I going to do, the physical steps to achieve that? So that's what you want to look at in there. And, for example, on the goalgettingpodcast.com/action, on that worksheet that I'm sending you, if you go on the goalgettingpodcast.com website, you'll see where I have an example or a sample of that goal worksheet. And in there for the how, the action plan is to lose 2 pounds per week, which is a short-term goal, and to reduce my carb intake, maintain a 1,200 calorie a day intake, maintain an average 1,000 calorie a day deficit. Number 5 of my action steps is to play hard 7 days per week. In other words, go out and do something to burn those calories at least 7 days a week were my goal. And again, that you may not have that time to do that depending on your life and your lifestyle. And then play every morning before dressing. And I say play, and I put this on my sample here. Play hard is equal to exercise in a more enjoyable thought. Make it fun, like going out to play. That's the thing, with kids, we need to get them there. There's a big problem with obesity in the country today, and we want to make sure that, we think like a child and go out and play and have fun. When we do something that is physical, that will do something to burn those calories. Don't think of it as exercise. Think of it in the mindset that it's actually play. Go out and do something fun. Play a sport. Go dancing. Go do, what's that new dance craze? Not samba, but Zumba. Go do some Zumba. That actually sounds very fun. I still want to get to some Zumba classes because I love to dance, and, that sounds like a fun way to do it. So, find something that you enjoy doing that burns calories. If it's going on a hike, if it's going, out and playing soccer with some friends, or playing flag football, or, going, rollerblading, on the beach, or, on the trails on the beach. You can't actually rollerblade on the beach. That would be tough, but you know what I'm talking about. So those are some things that you may want to, do, and, set that work, that action plan, write it down. Again, you want to make sure you have it written down and follow it. And next week, we're going to be talking about measurement and, how to measure it and track it. And I've got another, tool that I have that I'll provide for you for next week. But if you go to goalgettingpodcast.com/action, you can pick up the goal setting worksheet. And then from there, we'll work on fine tuning that next week with the measurement and tracking tool that I'm going to provide for you. So start thinking about what is the goal that you want to achieve. Why do you want it? And we'll talk more about motivation in a couple of more weeks when we get to the motivation and the why for your goals portion of this particular podcast. But today, just start thinking about why do you want that so that you know what you want to do to achieve it. And then the other piece that we want to talk about is, the measurement and tool and tracking tool that I'm going to provide for you, and we'll do that next week. But start thinking about what are your goals, writing those down, use this worksheet to outline the different steps that you want to take or that you're going to need to take to achieve the goals that you set. And that's what we're going to do, is we're going to help you get the goals that you set. So I look forward to speaking with you. Remember to, if you like the show, please go fill out the comment, or if you have any questions, fill out the comment on the website at goalgettingpodcast.com. Enjoy, the day, enjoy the week, and we look forward to chatting with you next week here at goalgettingpodcast.com. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Thank you. That was great music. That was Baccarat by my good friend Mark Sensinger. You know, if you really want to have some excellent music for a wedding, for bar mitzvah, for any other type of event, you should contact Mark at marksensinger.com. Mark is a wonderful composer out of the Boston area. Mark has written pieces for symphony orchestras, Boston Pop, several different events in the Boston and New England area. I highly recommend you check out Mark at marksensinger.com. See if he can't come up with something good for you, whether it's wedding, birthday, anniversary. Have him create a lasting and a wonderful score that will help you understand how important that particular date or event is for you. So thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. That's Baccarat from Mark Sensinger at marksensinger.com.